I find these stories just fascinating. When one single player becomes the absolute focus for a whole team's hopes
Yeah.
and their money, frankly.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving deep into NFL quarterback Trevor Lawrence, his upcoming season with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, everyone's calling it make or break.
That's got that label firmly attached.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into a situation that's not just about football, but about, the immense pressure and these really clear expectations placed on one guy.
Yeah.
What makes this moment so pivotal?
Well, what's fascinating here is how Lawrence's situation, it really holds up a mirror to high-stakes careers everywhere, not just sports.
Right.
It just perfectly encapsulates the weight of past performance, how you deal with new talent coming up, and, of course, that undeniable shatter of a benchmark competitor.
Yeah.
So this whole narrative around his season, it really tells you a lot about the dynamics of pro sports, those huge contracts, and how you measure up.
Absolutely. And our mission today is pretty straightforward. Pull out the key insights from the material we've looked at, help you understand why this is so compelling for Trevor Lawrence specifically, and what it really means to get these clear expectations for a make-or-break kind of year.
Yeah.
We'll look at his journey, the team situation now, exactly what's expected, and those big comparisons. So, thinking about how he got here, he arrived with unbelievable hype. What were the key moments leading to this make-or-break point?
It's almost a textbook story, isn't it? The phenom meets the tough realities of the NFL. Lawrence was the clear not one pick. Everyone knew it. Coming out of Clemson, he was practically football royalty there.
Right. Untouchable.
Exactly. But that rookie season, 2021, woof, it was tough. Jaguars went 3-14. It was a massive learning curve, not just for him, but the whole organization.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It really tests you when you're supposed to be the savior, and year one is just a struggle like that.
That had to be humbling, especially after all the college success.
Yeah.
But then, like our sources point out, that sophomore season, 2022, it was a huge turnaround.
Huge. Yeah.
He gets the Jags to 9-8. They actually win the division, make the playoff for the first time in 5 years. What did that season tell us about him as a leader, as a QB?
Oh, that season was massive. It showed you exactly why he was drafted #1 overall.
Okay.
It wasn't just stats, it was leading the team, pulling off comebacks, performing when it really counted. It kind of validated the pick, showed his leadership, made everyone think, okay, this is it. The franchise is turning around. It set a new bar for him.
And that bar, it seems, is now kind of heavy.
Yeah.
Because after that success in 22, they haven't gotten back there.
Right.
Our sources mentioned last season, 2024, being particularly rough, a really disappointing 4-13 record. Was that all on Lawrence, or what else was going on?
And that's a really important point. The record was dismal, no doubt, but the sources are pretty clear. Injuries played a big part, other factors kind of outside his control. He only played in 10 games last season. Compare that to his first 3 years where he basically played every game. That kind of stop-start availability, it kills a team's rhythm.
Yeah, consistency is key.
Totally. And when he was playing in 2024, his completion percentage was just over 60%, passer rating around 85. Not, awful numbers, but definitely a dip. Shows you how much those injuries and maybe other things impacted his play.
Okay, so you have this context, a flash of brilliance, then a setback, partly due to things he couldn't control. It makes sense there's this renewed hope for the 2025 season now.
Exactly.
What's driving that optimism?
Especially around his health and how he's preparing.
Well, the main thing is just him staying healthy.
Right.
And the team getting back to that 2022 vibe. And he seems genuinely up for it.
Good.
Sources say he was really enthusiastic after throwing again in minicamp after months off. That's big, mentally as much as physically.
Plus, he's getting more throws in with teammates at training camp this month. That's just crucial. For you listening, you got to understand, it's about rebuilding that timing, that chemistry, especially after an injury hit year, getting all those connections firing again.
And it's not just his health, it's the team around him, right?
Yeah.
Seems like the Jags have tried to beef up his supporting cast. Who's back and who are the new faces meant to help him out?
Yeah, they've definitely made some moves. He's got familiar guys back, reliable targets like Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker Washington. That gives him some stability. But they've added new pieces, too. Diami Brown, the free agent receiver, is one. But the big name, the real splash, is the rookie Travis Hunter, the no worse 2 pick overall.
Hunter, yeah.
And the expectation for Hunter is wild, contributing big time as both a receiver and a cornerback. That's almost unheard of. Tells you how special they think he is.
A two-way player in the modern NFL, that's something else. So, okay, Hunter comes in with huge hype as a top pick. But the sources seem clear. The main pressure, the biggest weight, it still falls on Lawrence. Why him specifically?
Because, yeah, despite the new talent,
Yeah.
despite Hunter's potential, the sources hammer this home. Lawrence, the former #1 pick, entering year 5, has the most on his shoulders.
Right.
It's not just about adding weapons. It's about making sure the guy they invested everything in has zero excuses, basically. Every chance to be elite. The contract, the draft status, the history, it all points back to him needing to deliver. He's the guy.
And speaking of investment,
Yeah.
let's talk about the money. Because nothing screams expectation like a massive contract. The deal Lawrence signed is pretty eye-watering. Can you break down those numbers for us?
Oh, yeah. It's staggering. June 2024, he signs a 5-year deal worth $275 million.
Wow.
With $200 million of that guaranteed. That's not just a vote of confidence. It's like bolting him to the franchise's future.
Yeah.
Plus a $37.5 million signing bonus. The deal itself kicks in from 2026, keeps him there through 2030. But the headline number, the one that really makes you pause, is the average salary. $55 million a year.
$55 million.
At the time he signed, that tied him with Joe Burrow of the Bengals, right at the very top of the QB pay scale.
And bringing up Joe Burrow is perfect context, isn't it?
Yeah.
#1 pick in 2020, already taken the Bengals to the playoffs twice, got them to a Super Bowl.
Exactly. Proven winner. Playoff success. Super Bowl appearance.
So what does this massive contract, putting Lawrence in that financial bracket, really mean for defining this as a make-or-break season?
It totally changes the game. You're not just evaluating talent anymore. He becomes essentially a massive corporate asset.
Yeah.
And every single throw, every decision, it's not just about the game. It's about validating a $250 million bet the team made. That's a kind of pressure most people can't even imagine. So for you, trying to grasp what make or break means here, it's not just about potential anymore. It's about delivering a return on that huge investment. It means performing like those guys he's paid, like the Burrows, the proven elite. The expectation isn't just improvement, it's dominance, justifying the price tag.
That's a really sharp way to put it, the shift from talent to corporate asset.
Yeah.
And it seems these expectations aren't just implied by the contract, they're being spelled out very clearly.
Oh, absolutely.
We saw comments from former NFL player, now analyst, Brian Baldinger. On Jacksonville Sports Radio, he was pretty blunt about what Lawrence needs to accomplish.
Yeah.
What did Baldinger say?
Yeah, Baldinger didn't pull any punches. He flat out said Lawrence needs to make a jump. Why? Because bottom line, he hasn't won enough games recently as the starter.
Okay.
And what's interesting is Baldinger acknowledged the other stuff. He literally said, quote, injuries, instability, things around him, they're all true.
Right. So he gets the context.
But, Baldinger continued, he was paid to be a franchise quarterback last year. That's the key part. It basically says, yeah, things were tough, but the standard changed when you got paid. Time to deliver regardless. It's about accountability now.
So acknowledging the past, but drawing a line. Okay,
Yeah.
no more excuses. What specific things did Baldinger say Lawrence needs to do on the field?
He was very specific. Number 1, he's got to step up. Simple as that.
Okay.
Number 2, his overall completion percentage has got to improve. Number 3, his playmaking ability has got to improve. Tangible things.
Right. Measurable improvements.
Exactly. And then Baldinger dropped the ultimate comparison, the standard Lawrence now has to aim for. He said, ultimately, he's got to be able to attack these defenses and make plays the way the winner of this division has the last 2 years in C.J. Stroud.
Ah, there it is. C.J. Stroud.
Yep. So connecting the dots here for you. These expectations aren't just about better stats. It's about a whole different level of impact. Leading like an elite division-winning QB. Like Stroud.
And that tees up the next big piece perfectly. C.J. Stroud himself. The benchmark. It really is pretty incredible what Stroud's done in just 2 years with the Texans.
Phenomenal is the word. Yeah.
Can you just remind us of his highlights? Why is he such a tough comparison for Lawrence right now?
I mean, where do you start? He's led Houston to the AFC divisional round in both his seasons. That's just wild for a young QB.
Incredible start.
He was Offensive Rookie of the Year. The stats are crazy. Over 7,800 passing yards already, 43 touchdowns, and get this, a 93.7% completion rate? Wait, that completion rate sounds too high. The source said 93.7 passer rating. Let me correct that. A passer rating around 93.7 so far. Still very impressive.
Okay, pass rating, got it. Still great numbers.
Absolutely. And, crucially, the source points out Stroud has mostly stayed healthy. Missed only 2 games his rookie year with a concussion. That availability, it's been huge for Houston's consistency and success. Staying on the field matters a lot.
So Stroud's success isn't just impressive on its own, it's happening right there, in the same division, setting this immediate, very high bar. What does his impact really say about the standard now? And why is his health such a critical factor when we compare him to Lawrence?
Well, Stroud's rise kind of shows you how quickly the goalposts can move in pro sports, right?
Yeah.
What looked like a solid franchise QB yesterday suddenly gets measured against this new, maybe even higher standard. It forces this constant, kind of uncomfortable reevaluation of where you stand. For Lawrence, it's not just a comparison, it's like a recalibration of his whole career path so far. And yeah, the source notes, maybe Stroud's rookie year was even better than year two, but the point is he's always had his team competing, playing at a high level.
Right, consistency.
And that health aspect is key. Stroud's been available. Lawrence, coming off that 10-game season, he absolutely has to stay on the field this year. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, for you listening?
God.
When you've got that clear benchmark, another guy succeeding right in front of you, does it motivate you more? Or does it just crank up the pressure to an almost unbearable level?
It's got to be intense, no doubt. So let's kind of wrap this up. Trevor Lawrence is heading into this season facing, well, a perfect storm of high-stakes factors. You've got the #1 pick pedigree, then the massive contract putting him in the absolute financial elite. You layer on the team's recent struggles, that rough 4-13 season last year, then add the very direct demands from analysts like Baldinger saying, time to make the leap.
Yeah, the expectations are crystal clear now.
And hanging over all of it, the shadow of C.J. Straoud, the super successful rival in his own division, setting that gold standard. It just means every single game, maybe every throw, is going to be under the microscope. Can he meet these sky-high expectations? That's the question.
So here's something for you to think about after we're done, in any profession, really. When your success is being measured so directly against someone else's achievements and against this huge financial number, what does it actually take? What does it take for someone to rise to that kind of challenge and carve out their own definition of impact, their own success, instead of just trying to be a copy of the benchmark?
Yeah.
It's got to be about adapting, leading differently maybe, and proving your worth on your own terms, even inside those really tight constraints. That, I think, is the ultimate test facing Trevor Lawrence this season.